There we go. Okay. Oh, and there's Mary. Hi, Mary. The new face joining us. This is Mary McHugh. This is everybody. You can read their names. Anyway, okay. And I was just saying there, Mary, that you haven't learned all the repertoire that we've been working on yet. So for you, it's good. We're going to kind of go easy because we're going to be working on problems that people have had with the tunes that we have learned. So we'll be going nice and slow and revisiting stuff. So I think it's probably a good situation for you at this point. Anyway, okay, so everybody's muted. That's good, except for Suze. There we go. And I'm getting the QuickTime thing going. We're rolling. Okay, so let's start with our G major. I got my tuner on, and I'll keep us all honest. All right. Now my fiddle has dropped. That's better. Okay, so we usually start off with a nice G major scale there, Mary. So let's give this a go, and let's see how we do with the G major. Nice and slow. Ready, go! Okay, so that was your slow tuner where you might have to tune your notes as you go along. How do you feel? Did you have to tune a lot of notes or just a few? If you did, try to remember what they were for when we go again, and this time you're going to try to tune them ahead of time. Preventative tuning, okay? So let's do it one more time with that in mind. Think of what went wrong, see if we can get it right this time. Ready, go. How are we feeling? Did you fix whatever went wrong the first time? Yeah, pretty good? Oh, that's great. That's the way to do it. So now, you know what? Let's do the same treatment to the arpeggio right away. So a nice slow tuner, and then one that fixes the problems. Ready, go. Now try to remember which ones you had to tune, and let's tune them ahead of time. Ready, go. So, did that work? Did you fix your problems the second time around? Had pretty good success rate, good batting average? Okay, so now we're going to speed it up. And hopefully all that stuff, try to remember, first of all, how it sounded to get it all right. Second of all, and more importantly, how it felt on the hand. So how hard you're pressing to get the notes in tune, anything like that. Try to hold on to it, and we're going to go fast. We're going to go like this. Okay, as a tester, let's see what happens. Arpeggio right after. A 1, 2, 3, go! Now, I'll give you my report first. Oh, there's Mel. That's great. In my report, I got my, what do you call it there? I had a couple of sharp ones. So my D on the A string was sharp at my first attempt on the arpeggio. And when I was coming down, it's the usual suspect, Mr. B, that gave me a very momentary problem. But anyway, so that's my report. How about you guys? How did the fast go? Did you get most of them? Some of them? Most? That's great. Let's do it again right away just like that, except better. Same speed. Remember the arpeggio. Okay. A 1, 2, 3, go! Right. Now that time for me, I had one note that was a little sharp at the first touch C through the whole thing. That was the only one. Now how about you guys? Do pretty good? Not bad? Okay, good. So that's the procedure. Now, so this is what we usually do, Mary, for working on keys. We usually do the slow one where you actually listen and move your finger if you need to. And then the second time you try to remember those changes you had to make and make them ahead of time. And then when we go faster, you basically just pay attention to which ones didn't quite come in. And the next time you do it, you're going to get them. Before you know it, you're going to whip up and down a scale in arpeggio and you won't have to tune anything. You see what I mean? Okay. Great. Okay, that's G. Shall we practice our drunken landlady? I think we should. Now, does anybody remember a metronome marking? No? Organized people write these things down, but I am not one of those people. Let's see here. So, I'm thinking... Should we give it a go at about 75? Hey, Mel. Let's see here. Here, let's back her up to 70. That should do it, eh? Now let me turn the sound off of this so I don't do your heads in. Like my drum teacher when I was going to St. FX, he had a big loudspeaker with the metronome so you could hear it while you were playing drums, but he would leave it going after I was finished and he would be talking and the thing would be like clang, clang, clang. I mean, that's one way to get tempo into your head. I don't recommend it. Anyway, here we go. So 70 is going to sound like this. Are we ready? let's do it. Drunken landlady, maid behind the bar, and the wise maid. 2 times each. 1, 2, 3. Here we go. Here we go. All right, that was a stint. Now, let's see. So, at first glance, definitely the wise maid is the most problematic of the three. Would I be correct in that? Yeah. Now, I think we talked about it last time. One of the biggest challenges with the wise maid is the string crossing, especially in the second part. Okay? So, to get through that, to get through it smooth, you want to move your arm as little as possible. You want to do most of that string crossing. If you watch me doing it, see, that's the only way that I can get through those. See that? Is to use tiny movements here so I can do it quick and easy. Soon as I start to involve my arm, it gets heavy and hard to do. Hard to go fast. Oh, there's Simone. That's great. So that's how we get through that part. All right? So since I can see that that's a problem for everybody, why don't we try the second part of the wise maid, nice and slow, and everybody's going to try to concentrate on no elbow. Okay? Now you can use a doorway. I have this chair. So, and I'll just demonstrate what that would look like. So if I was to play the wise maid in the doorway, the second part, this is what it looks like. See how that works there? And if I do start doing this, I get a little bump on the arm. And it stops me from doing that. It makes my wrist do this instead. Okay? Now, if we were doing it in person, I'd be sitting here with my bow. And I kind of tap the forearm there if the person is using a lot of elbow, and it seems to work right away, you know, just giving a little poke. Sometimes I got to use two bows to get on either side of that arm in the really, really extreme cases, but I've had them. But so keep that in mind. Does everybody see how that works there? No elbow, and the isolation can really help. If you can't help but use your elbow, then do use that. Look, Mel's in the doorway already. Look at that. There you go. And I noticed, Mel, you're the only one whose bow arm I could actually see. Hey, Simone. And I noticed that you were using quite a bit of elbow there. Definitely slowing you down. No question about it. Okay? So just keep it in mind. We'll see if we can make it. So we're going to do the second part. And it's going to be like this. Kind of that speed, okay? Working on that elbow. I'll do it too, to lead by example. Here we go, just like with the kids. Okay. 1, 2, 3, go. I'm seeing big improvements right away. So, Mel, much better. Did you notice? Did it see me? Okay, good. Yeah, but I will use you to point out what the natural progression. So what you have going, when I was watching you before, it was like this. In the doorway, it looks more like this. So still a little bit stiff through here, right? But you've eliminated this, which is a huge step forward, okay? So don't go with that. Don't worry too much about the arm right at this point. Just work on that elbow. The next thing will be the arm, okay? So that's a really good progress right there. Everybody hear that? If you're working on that right arm, it's elbow first, then arm, and by then you're doing much better with the hand bowing.
And then how do you address the hand part?
Well, we do this here, look. So first of all, more isolation, okay? So once you get your arm, your elbow under control, and you're not trying to do the funky chicken anymore, so then you change the isolation point. See that? To this. So now, if I start to use my arm, it's going to get, it's not a bump. It's not as good as with the elbow, it's a bump, right? But with the arm, it's a rub. And it does still help, but it's not quite as effective. But that's what you do. That first the this, then the this, and by then, most people usually have it on the go. Also, don't forget, with this here, down on the D, up on the E. See that? No sound on the A. And if you're doing that with the isolation point, that's really going to work out your hand. The other thing I'll tell you there, Mel, and it's probably the same for everybody, that's why I mentioned it, is you're doing really good with the down, moving the wrist down towards the E and the A string. But then when you go back the other way, it's the see that? And it's classic. It's the normal progression. So just to let you know. Anybody, so did everybody see that with Mel, how it worked right away, being in the doorway, and then that's how you progress after that, okay? Does anybody have any questions about that?
So I go to the chair next.
That's right.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
or anything, really. You know, like whatever's going to kind of get you to isolate that forearm. Like I said, when I'm teaching people in person, I don't even have to touch them. That's the thing. So when I'm teaching people in person, I got the bow here for the forearm, right? And I don't even have to touch them. All I got to do is get close to them, and the hand just melts. I don't know what it is. But I know that my dad used to say, even a pit pony, he hits his head a couple of times and he learns to duck. So I guess it must be like that, you know? So that's the next progress for you, is that. You might have to spend more time in the doorway first, but once that's more stable, it's the forearm. Yes.
How is everybody else keeping up with that tempo?
Good question. How's everybody keeping up with that tempo? Not? Okay, a few people are, a few people aren't. Jocelyn, what's going wrong for you with that tempo?
I really get tripped up over the sound of my bow, and I hate it. It sounds like a cat scratching, and I've been practicing the wise maid and not so much the other ones, and listening to it over and over again. So it's just, I think for me, I may really have to memorize these songs. I think that has to be it. My reading is slow, and I always learn by ear my other instruments.
Yep.
So I don't know. I think I may have to change my approach. The traditional one just isn't quite working for me.
You mean the reading?
Yeah, the reading. I've become much better at reading.
Yeah.
It's always harder for me, but I think what I'm trying to do now is listen to the music at tempo over and over and over again, so it's in my head. So when I play guitar as well, I love the Beatles, and I know that when I played a wrong chord, I got it right away, and I knew this song so intimately that I knew when there was something wrong, and I could fix it right away. This is all new music to me. This fiddling is just, it's like I'm completely out of my zone. So
Okay.
I think though for me, I have to internalize it and then go from there. I'm not sure about that, but catching up, still trying to coordinate my hands with my bow as well.
Yeah.
It sounds like a hammer still. I'm getting better. Things
Yeah.
are getting better. I don't want to say it's all a disaster. Things are really coming together. But I have to make the music inside of me. I don't know
Sure.
how else.
Oh no, I totally understand what you're talking about. Now, and what Jocelyn's referring to there, that is the like when you said the traditional approach. Reading the music is not actually the traditional approach. That's a more modern thing. Like, well, I shouldn't say that. Like, we have books that are 300 years old, 400 years old, for sure. But nobody ever uses them to learn music in our tradition. They use it to remember music after the fact, as like an encyclopedia, right? So the traditional approach is learning by ear. Now, we've learned these tunes by ear. I don't know if you were here for all of the tunes, because you joined pretty recently. So here's what I suggest for you. You were talking about the Beatles, right? So the Beatles has verse, chorus, with a bridge, right? Okay, usually. Some of the bridges are really hard, too. So that basically is 3 musical phrases that you're talking about there, right? The verse is one, the chorus is another, and the bridge is the third that you only hear once in the song. These tunes are structured very similarly, except the phrases are all put together. So if you listen closely, you'll hear that there's repetition. So the parts usually are first phrase, second phrase, first phrase again, ending. A lot of the time, the ending is the same in the A part as it is in the B part. See that? And then you get to the B part, and it's the same thing. First phrase, second phrase, first phrase again, ending. This tune is very similar, the Wise Maid, and all the ones we're doing there. So it's really good to get the musical phrases, all right? Once you get the musical phrases, you can learn tunes really quickly by ear. Here's what I suggest. The Irish people have this expression: if you can sing a tune, then you can play it on your instrument, even if you haven't tried to yet. And it is true, and I've done it. I remember, I always use this example. I worked for an Irish dancing show for 4 years, and we did 95 shows in 3-month tours, if you can imagine that. 95 shows away for 100 days. So we were playing every night, sometimes twice, right? And every piper we ever had on tour with us, every Irish piper played the same tune, Colonel Fraser's, for their solo. It's really flashy, and it's like, it's like one of those show tunes or whatever. They all picked the same one. And so I heard that tune every night for hundreds of shows. And then one day I picked up my fiddle and I just played it at speed. No problem at all. So it is true. Okay, that expression, if you can sing it, you can play it, is absolutely true. What I suggest to you is take the videos, the slow videos, see if you can find the phrases in the parts. If you can, sing them separately. So for the Wise Maid, I'll kind of give you a giveaway for the Wise Maid. First phrase. Okay. Second phrase. First phrase again. Second phrase slightly different as the ending. See how that works there? Okay. 90% of tunes have exactly that structure. So I suggest that this is going to be good for all the tunes you learn in the future too. Go back to these 3 tunes, see if you can identify the phrases on your own, and sing them. Okay? And if you don't quite get it right, it's just going to be like memorizing the Beatles music. Because I did the same as you. Because I did so many covers in my life. Like thousands of covers as a drummer. And the same thing, you do get to know them really, really well. So if you sing those phrases, you're going to get these tunes and you're not going to have to read them.
Okay, great. That's huge. I think I really have to change the way I'm learning. Part of me feels I could be really, really good at this. But I just haven't accessed how I learn it. I've been following other people, and I think, and I also have to get to know my instrument.
Of course.
When I was playing guitar, I knew how a C sounded. I knew how the strings felt, and I knew everything. for whatever reason, I haven't got that with the fiddle yet. And so, anyway.
For whatever reason, it takes forever to get good at the fiddle. Have you ever heard, somebody asked Yehudi Menuhin once, how long does it take to master the violin? And he said, for the left hand, about 10 years. For the right hand, I don't know. I'm still working on it.
Okay, that makes me feel better.
Yeah.
Every other instrument I tried, it was much quicker. And I'm struggling like crazy on this, and I still haven't got to speed. And it's been, anyway.
Be patient. That's normal. What you're going through is normal. But I think that singing these tunes and identifying those phrases is going to be what unlocks it for you. All you guys hear that? That is the way that we learn this music, is that, first phrase, second phrase, first phrase as an ending or whatever, they're all the same, and that's how we learn it. And so when somebody's teaching me a tune, they'll do that. They'll do exactly that. And then I'll sit there and try to get that. It takes a couple of tries, and then we're on to the next phrase. You see what I mean? Okay? And when we learn a new tune, which will be pretty soon, we'll do it that way as well. Okay? Jocelyn makes a very good point, guys. So anybody that's having trouble, you're stuck to the music, you're reading the music all the time, do that. Try to sing it. Try to identify those phrases. They're usually 2 bars long. Usually. Not always. Some of the deep Irish stuff gets pretty complicated with the phrases. There can be 4 or 5 phrases in a part. But for most of the tunes we're working on, it's 3 or 4, just like that. Does that help? Good. Okay. So let's see. Pearl, how are you doing with the Wise Maid? So I know you got to leave soon, so I want to address any problems you might be having.
I keep doing the triplets either too fast or too slow. I don't know what.
What triplets?
The Wise Maid, that one. I always do the 2 of them. There's one in the first phrase, and then there's one in the second, like the first line and then the second line. And sometimes I do them, and then I hear everyone do it, end the last note after, and I'll be like, okay, that was too quick. I'll slow it down for the next one. Okay. And then I'll fix it, and then everyone will be starting the next note, and I'll be like, okay, that was too slow. Hold on a minute.
Well, let me tell you something about those. So that's an ornament. The little triplets are ornaments. They're ornamental, right? So you can do it whatever way you want, all right? As long as you wind up on the timeline with everybody. So, and people do triplets in different ways. So it can be like this. Or my personal favorite. See that? So as long as, if you do the first 2 notes too quickly, just hold the last one. If you do the last one couple too quickly, just hold that first one. Whatever way you kind of split the difference there is going to be your personal triplet. And like I said, everybody's is different. You want to make yours sound the way you want. Now, it depends also if you're slurring them or not, right? So, I think I slur them in the up bow. Or you can go down. You can single bow them, but they only work really on a down bow. I think you're going to have to slur these.
Okay.
On the up bow. Okay, very, very good point.
I would always be just a little bit off. And I was like, I'm getting so close to being with everyone.
Yeah, no, you do them as fast as you want. Just make sure it still takes the right amount of time in the end. Okay? Now, who else? Anybody else that I can address a problem? How are you doing with everything so far, Mary? Is this a new tune for you? Have you ever done this tune before? You're muted. You got to unmute.
I don't know these tunes, so I'm just, playing along, and I'm doing okay.
Doing okay? Okay, I noticed that you were kind of nodding along to the string changing thing. Is that something that you kind of have trouble with as well?
I don't think I have trouble with it.
Oh, that's good.
But if you see it, you can tell me.
Okay, yeah. Well, the sign of that is just if you get right bogged down when you're string crossing, that's usually the sign that you're kind of having trouble with it and using too much effort to do them.
Yeah.
Okay, so you can pay attention.
Good wrist, so.
Good. That's great. It's such a good start. Okay, guys, let's try this tune again then at that nice slow tempo. And then, like I said, anybody that has a problem, speak up and we can work on it. Simone, how come your name is Esme today? I gotta ask you. It's very interesting.
That's my sister's name, and I'm using her laptop today.
Oh, okay. Right on. Nice name. Never heard it before. Okay, here we go. So we'll go about this fast. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, go. Okay, Mary, your wrist does look really good there. Absolutely. And Mel, you're already making progress there in the doorway. I can't get over how quick that's working out. That's really good. Yes, Simone.
I was just waving bye to Pearl.
Oh, Pearl's gone. Oh, my God. Yeah, she's got 2 tests tomorrow, she said. Or 3 tests tomorrow. Oh, my God. You
I
know,
have another question.
yes.
Goderich Celtic Festival.
Yes.
Today's the last day for the early bird. They've extended it. We still don't know who's teaching what classes and what they are. Do you know what you're doing?
We're doing, I'm probably, well, you know what? I don't, except I know one thing. I know that my band is doing a band class.
Okay.
And Brian and I did it last year, or whatever that was, and it was really awesome. So it had all instruments, and we basically, as a group, as a big group, it was really big, we put together a set, and we learned the tunes in the set, figured out how to join them, and it was really, really, that was great. But this year, it's going to be me, Ross, and Brian, the 3 of us doing it, so it should be even better. So I know that we're doing that, and I know that I'm going to be teaching fiddle, you know, like regular fiddle, whether it's, I don't know whether it's beginner or intermediate or both, it could be. But I'll be doing that. And I know Brian will be teaching banjo because he's like the only one there for Irish banjo. And Ross, I expect, will be doing like a whistle class. I think they mentioned about a whistle class with Ross, which would be very good. He's one of the best whistle players that I know.
Okay, thanks.
Does that help? Email Cheryl. Tell her to get this stuff up on the website.
Is it only live, or is there going to be any online?
Oh, very good question. I don't know.
I think it's just live. Yeah.
I'm going to write these things down, ladies, and I'm going to make some inquiries and see if I can get some answers. So, Godrich, classes, and
Is that
live
like
or
the
not.
summer festival?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, they have a college every year. It's a week. I think it's 4 days this year. But there's a bunch of great teachers, and then at the end there's a concert, and it's awesome. People love it. It was my first time teaching there. Was the summer before the pandemic. And it was a great time. It was a madness, actually. There was a session every night in the Park House pub. And one night there was 11 banjos there. And people tried to figure out, how do you refer to a group of banjos? Like there's a herd of elephants, and there's a a pride of lions. And so what would it be for a banjo? And I thought of a twang of banjos. But everybody agreed that it was better to call it a murder of banjos. Just like crows. Anyway, okay, so there you go. So I'll check into that, and don't let me forget, Mel. I'll email Cheryl tomorrow and see what's going on. Now, okay, so that was the Wise Maid. I'm going to leave that with you. You know the ways that you can improve that tune now and get it smoother and quicker, because it's really the only one in the set that's still... Like, we were doing that set at 70. Everybody was looking really good until the Wise Maid. Okay? So we'll leave that there. We'll try to improve that now. Okay, so now I'm opening up the floor. Let's think about the tunes that we've done over the past while. What is your worst favorite tune and why? Okay? I got this one student, Rick, he's always saying that. He's like, oh, now we got to do Lord Gordon's, my worst favorite tune. And it's like, well, why are you playing it then? He's like, because I have to. Anyway, so let's start with Sue, leader. What's your worst favorite tune that is desperate, that you need help on really bad?
Yeah, for sure it's that Big John, right? Way back to Big John. It's going over to those far strings that just slows me down. It takes me down.
Yeah, you know what? And that's a perfect one to work on right now, because we touched on it with the Wise Maid. So let's do this first, because I didn't really get to demonstrate the string crossing exercises, and I'm sure Mary has never even heard of string crossing exercises before on the fiddle. So check this out. So let's do a little bit of the down on the G, up on the A, down on the D, up on the E. Okay? I'm going to demonstrate it, and then we'll do it. Everybody muted there? Yes, that's great. So this is what it looks like. We'll start with D and E. That's Dog and Edward. So without moving my elbow, and I'll put it there so you can be sure I'm not lying, we do a little note on the D, and then without making any sound on the A, we roll the bow over using just our hand, and then make an up bow on the E. See that? And then roll back over to the D, down, back over to the E, up, like this. And you're trying to make no sound on the A, because the purpose of this exercise is to stop changing strings like this and start doing it like this. And if you do it like this, there won't be any sound on the A. Okay? So let's do it. Down on the D, up in the on the E. A 1, 2, 3, go. Okay, everybody's looking great, and I'll tell you, I don't hear any A strings at all. Ha ha ha, you're all muted. Anyway, okay, so that's down on the D, up on the E. Everybody get the idea? How's it feeling? Your elbow trying to move around, or is it getting under control? A little bit? Now let's do the G and the A. Now you see how my hand is doing a deep dive for the A. You see that? It's completely folded over there. My fingers are fully extended. And then to get the G, I got it straight. It straightens out. See that? And my knuckles kind of come up like this. Remember bow push-ups? So when I'm playing the G, it's the up part of the bow push-up. And when I'm playing the A, it's the down part. See that? My fingers doing a deep dive. Fully extended fingers. See that? Okay? And that's really what serves you for Big John. Is that. So let's do a little bit more because I interrupted you. Ready? G. Oh, looking good. Looking good. You getting the idea? It doesn't take much of that exercise to improve your string crossing, especially if you use an isolation point. There's no point to doing it if you're still doing this. So a mirror or a zoom screen or an isolation point is necessary to make it get anywhere. Okay? How's everybody feel? You feel limber? Okay, let's do Big John. Have you ever played Big John McNeil before, Mary? No? Okay. Do you have music for it? I don't know if I sent you music for it, so I can send it to you right now if you want. You're still muted, so I don't know what you're saying, and I'm sure it's very interesting. Here, I'll just send that off to you quick, just in case.
I don't play it, but I love it.
Oh, good. Okay. We've been working on it for a long time now. We learned it a while ago, but we've been working on trying to, make it really tight and really clean. Because if you can get Big John and nicely and cleanly and without a lot of effort, then there's so many tunes you're going to now fly through. Okay? So I just sent it to you there, Big John McNeil. And if you can't print it off or whatever, I can share my screen. And I can put it up on my screen. Do you want me to do that?
Yeah, if you don't mind.
No
yeah,
problem, no problem. Okay, so I'll just get that up on my screen. Big John. Sue Leaders, who wants to work on Big John. Wow, that's a job and a half. Glad you mentioned it, Sue. Okay. All right, how's that? Can you see that okay? I'm going to make it bigger.
Yeah. Does that bother everybody else?
Oh, no, they don't care.
Okay.
They're looking at their own anyway.
Okay.
Oh, hard to get it all on one page. That should do it. Can you see that okay?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Okay. So the way that I suggest that we go about this is to go ahead dead slow. Use your isolation point. Pay attention to that right arm to make sure you're not using it. And let's try a little bit of Big John dead slow. I'm going to put my tuner on too so I can... That's the other hard thing about this tune is the key. So to give you an idea of the tempo, it's going to be like this. Okay, let's do it. Ahead we plod. Ready, go! right now. I'm not sure about you guys, but when I was going through that at that snail's pace, I was reminded of how hard I have to press to get those C sharps in tune the first try there. And for me, I got small hands. Like I'm always saying, it's like I got a complex or something. But so when I hit that C sharp, I got to mash her right down. And I noticed because we were going so slow, I was looking at the tuner, and my very first touch on those C sharps was often just a sliver of flatness that I had to squeeze in even at that tempo. See that? So that's one of the really challenging things about this tune. Now, I will say that elbows are looking very good. Everybody, well, the people that I can see. I can't see Sue Leader's elbow, but I can see, what I can see though, is your hand kind of flying up into the shot. It was a very good sign for when you're going over to the G string. And I see the side of your hand coming up. So that tells me that you are doing this thing to get over there, which is really good. Okay? Susan Blazer, I can't see your arm either, but I can see the upper part, and I don't see it coming up into the shot. So that's really good. Okay? Jocelyn, I can't really see your arm either, but you're a massage therapist, so you're very aware of movement and body, so I assume that you're doing it perfectly right. Okay? Calida, I don't see your arm coming up either. It's staying nice and stationary there, so that's really good. Same with you, Mary. You're right about your wrist. It looks great. It's awesome. Now, it could be a little tiny bit better, because your elbow doesn't move. That's really good, but your forearm does a bit. Okay? And what you want to do is investigate. See how much you can get away with without using the big meat of the forearm. Okay? You can probably get away with even more. Okay, really good though, really good. Mel, the doorway is doing wonders for you. Everything you do from now on should be in the doorway. Okay? And it won't take forever. Like if you keep at it like that, it's just melting. It's doing the job perfectly. So keep at that, okay? Simone, looking great. And how does it feeling getting over to that G string? Is it any trouble at all?
Not that I noticed, but maybe. Did it look like it was?
No, it looks really good. I'm just because your upper arm isn't moving at all, and I'm making sure you still get over there with what you must be using, which is your fingers and wrist.
I was trying to look at your arm.
Yeah.
To copy, because I remember before you said, because I was used to. My classical lessons that told me go really far up.
Yeah.
And I counter that with keeping it down.
Yeah, that's good. Well, it's working then. It's working. That's what I noticed. That's really good. I'd forgotten about that. Okay, good. So let's do it again. Little tiny bit quicker. See if all this work is having any effect. Oh, I got to share my screen again. Okay, there we go. Everybody see that all right? Okay, so a little quicker, so it's going to be more like this. Okay. Oh, that C sharp was in. That's good. Okay. Oh, 1, 2, 3, go. Sorry. Little faster. Okay, everybody's still looking pretty smooth. I gotta say, that slow, careful isolation work is working out. Now, how are we feeling at that speed? It's okay. Oh, that's great. Okay. What are the chances we can push it and go faster? Do you think there's a chance? Jocelyn's like, no. I'll tell you what. Let's have a go. Now, I'll just tell you what that metronome marking was for your own reference. So, it was slow. It was like 50. Yeah, it was about, we just did about 50 on the metronome. Okay, and that's for your own reference. So, if you want to get an idea of how fast we got it, it was still good. 50. Okay? And you don't need to play with the metronome. I know that it's hard to play with the metronome. But some people here might have never done it before. And if you've never done it before, it's really hard to do. But it's good to put it on beforehand and get a sense of the tempo before you start playing. That really does help. Okay? It stops you from trying to start it too fast or whatever. So, let's up it to 60. And that's going to sound like this. What do you think? Can we do it? All right. Just think light. Oh, you got it. Oh, great. Okay. Excellent. I find that to be a very good version too, Mary. Like a really good... And you can see that there's two endings for the B part, eh? Some people do that second ending. A lot of people do that first ending both times. I like the first one better because the big scale down is right dramatic and you can finish at the bottom there with a nice double stop. It's really nice, you know what I mean? But my buddy Pierre Schreier, he goes up at the end. You know what I mean? So it really depends on what you want. But we're going to be doing the down because it's better practice anyway. So I'll remind you of the tempo again. Here we go. I'll count you in. 1, 2, 3, go! Now, like I was saying before, like I was watching everybody like a hawk there as we were going through at 60, and the arms and elbows are still looking good. So you see how long that bit of practice can carry on for, eh? Make use of it. Now, it's going to deteriorate, of course. Everything does. But tonight, it's been about 25 minutes of properly working right arms and right elbows. So that is really valuable, guys, okay? So whatever you were doing, keep doing it. Now, how'd we do at 60? How's everybody feel? Jocelyn, did you live? You lived. That's great. Excellent.
Got most of the notes, too.
Oh! Added bonus. That's great. So there you go. So that's 60. So I hope that was good practice on Big John and it addressed some issues that people might be having with that. How you feeling about it now, Sue Leader? You feeling good? That's great. That's good. Okay, let's go on to another one. Let's see. How about Mel? What's your worst favorite tune? And why?
The one we just played was. I've never been able to tackle that, but it's helped a bit tonight. But it's not my worst one, but it's not what we played for a while. And I don't remember how it goes, but it's a Taylor's Twist.
Excellent idea. Oh, man, it's been a while. And we don't do enough hornpipes. And me and the boys decided we were hosting the session last week, and we decided that we're not playing enough hornpipes. You know, you get bogged down in the jigs and reels, and people forget it. And the hornpipes are so much fun. I was playing one with my friend Ina that we should learn sometime. Ina's from Galway, and she's got a ton of great hornpipes and and set dances, because Ina's job, besides being the administrator for the 416 QP local union for the past 40 years, is playing for Irish dancing competitions called feshes. And it's like all over North America that she travels to do this. And she has to play things called set dances, which are a dance, like a set of steps that goes along with a tune, a specific tune, There's a bunch of them. Job of the Journey Work, the Ace and Deuce of Pipering, the Blackbird, 3 Sea Captains, St. Patrick's Day. There's a whole bunch of them, but each has a dance that goes along with it. And for the competition, you got to go out and you got to pull off all the steps in the set dance. And you get marks for what you can pull off. And Ina has so many of those. They're a lot like hornpipes. They're so nice. And the nice thing about hornpipes is they're not that hard. You're not going 110 beats a minute. It's got a nice gentle feel. So it's good to do them. But the one I was playing with Ina is called the Cuckoo. Great little tune, the Cuckoo hornpipe. And it's really, the hornpipes are kind of, you think of vaudeville. And actually, a lot of the tunes, Irish tunes, were used in vaudeville. And when you listen to a tune like that, you can just kind of picture a guy sitting on a stool playing it on a concertina while a strong man rips a telephone book in half or something like that. You know what I mean? It's kind of campy and kitschy, but I love them. So the Taylor's Twist... That's her. So now, it looks like lots of people are digging around looking for it. So I'm just going to put it up on my screen right away.
Yeah, you were telling me that you have to memorize certain phrases, right?
Yeah.
How do you have all of these tunes in your head? Like, you just rhyme them off. Like, that's crazy. Where does it all go? It's like all stored in your head somewhere? Like,
that's a very good question, and it's something that people have studied because of Alzheimer's disease. So there's this phenomena where people who are musicians, when they get Alzheimer's disease, they don't forget the music. Have you guys ever heard of this phenomena? Yeah. And in fact, this lady here, Mary Jessie McDonald, this piano player here, she's also in the picture with another guy. Oh, I don't have that up anymore, but she was the piano player for like everybody in Cape Breton. But in the 50s and 60s and through the 70s, it was her heyday. She played with everybody. She was an incredible musician. I played with her lots of times. She'd be back and just playing chords. Suddenly, her right hand is playing the melody. Usually better than you. And she was just an incredible player. But she ended up with Alzheimer's when she was about 75, something like that. It started to come in. By the time it fully set in, she didn't recognize anybody around her, or anything at all. She couldn't make sense of anything at all until she got behind the piano. And then it would take a few sets and she'd start to coming back around to normal. And I heard about this, but I didn't witness it. Then I went to my brother's place and she was there playing with Jerry Holland. And she played a couple of sets. Next thing you know, she's talking. Next thing you know, she's cracking jokes, And then I went and played with her, and we got to the end of the couple of sets that I did, and she said, "So you play a lot of the Irish stuff?" And I said, "Well, yeah, I live in Toronto, and I hang out with Irish people." And she said, "Do you like it better than the Scottish stuff?" Struck fear into my heart. But anyway, so indeed, that is the case. That is true. I saw it myself. It's unbelievable. And apparently it's because the musical brain is not the same as the memory brain. It's a different part of the brain. It's not associated with memory at all. That's why I always try to shy away from memorizing tunes, So when I played classical music, I memorized pieces. Just like I would memorize a piece of text or something, I would read it and try to memorize it and do little tests, go back and forth, but that's not the way we learn this music. The way we learn this music is more like remembering a conversation. So those phrases I'm talking about there, you learn first phrase, which is the call, second phrase, which is the response. After you learn the phrases by ear, they can't be any other way. They can't be any other phrases. It can't go up instead of down at the end. It just doesn't make sense. You see what I mean? And so it's more like that. I don't call it learning the tunes, I call it understanding the tunes. Because if you understand how they work, you'll never forget them in a million years. You know? And that's, I don't really have an explanation for it. But I will say this, like, I know thousands of tunes. I've never tried to count them. None of my fiddler colleagues have ever tried to count their tunes, except my friend Pat Orso, who's a beautiful Irish player here in town. And he made an attempt at it. It was a failed attempt. The way that he tried to remember all of his tunes, make a list of them, was with records. So he took his record collection, he'd pull out a record, and he'd look at the tune list on the back and see if he knew them. And if he didn't, he would play them a bit and see if he knew them and check that off the list. He said it just got too tedious. He just couldn't keep it up. You know what I mean? So none of us have ever tried to count them, but it's usually in the thousands. So we usually say a couple of thousand tunes are in there. But you have two columns in your head. You have a column of tunes that you know, which is quite high for a good player, and a column of tunes that you play. Sometimes the ones that you know go into the list that you play. And sometimes the one that you play goes into the list of the ones that you know. And for me, it's people-based because I get these tunes off of people. So when I get together with a group of people and they play a few of the tunes I got off of them, a whole bunch come rushing right back in. See that? All the stuff that I would have played with that person comes rushing right back into my ear. Okay? So that seems, I don't have an explanation for it, but that seems to be the way it works. Okay? And in my opinion, it's all about those phrases.
Okay, so there's a lot of associations you're putting with the music as well. Maybe knowing a tune, you relate to knowing a certain person or playing it with a certain person.
Absolutely.
And just doing that kind of thing. So maybe it's more the experience is all included as well.
Well, it helps, but it's not to say you can't do it there in front of your computer screen at home. You can. And it's because of those phrases, and that's why I encourage you to do that. I think you'll get along quite well doing that. They're usually 2 bars, so try to identify them, and then we'll have a little go at it next week. I'll get you to tell me where you think phrases are. I'll get everybody to chime in, and we'll do it together. Okay? Yes, Mel?
So, being a late adult onset player, have you seen people incorporate a number of tunes to memory who have only learned by sheet music before?
It's a harder job for sure. It's a harder job, there's no question, but I have seen it happen. Now, and the example I'll use is I have a few classical musicians in my 30 years, I guess, now of teaching. Oh my God, I'm old. That have switched gears, right? They played classical all their lives. A couple of them were accomplished and professional players, but they were desperate to try to learn the music properly. Like, they really wanted to sound not like a violinist playing the tunes. And I know you guys know what that sounds like. Right? It's not unmistakable. There's a few things going on there, but that's when I've seen it happen, is those people. So they have learned tunes straight from music. I work with them. I play with them in a more free way, take the music away, go through those phrases, and it has worked. It's definitely worked. Okay? So I have seen it. And you don't have to do it to every tune. That's the other thing. It's a skill. Once you do it to 2 or 3, really nail it down, even a brand new one coming at you, you're going to hear those phrases separately, and it's going to be a lot easier job. Okay? Such good questions, guys. We're going to play this phrase game next week, definitely. Simone, did you have a question too? I thought I saw your hand go up. Okay, that's good. Okay, so now we're doing Taylor's Twist. I found it. I'm going to put it on my screen. It was good questions, though, guys. Really, really good. Here we go. I'll share my screen. And I'll make it bigger. Is that big enough? Everybody see that okay? Okay. And the other thing is, tunes are made of scales and arpeggios. If you spot the arpeggios and the little bits of scale, you pretty well got the tune. So let's go nice and slow, see if we can bring this back from the brink. 1, 2, 3. right. So she's pretty simple. Starting to hear the phrases in there, eh? This is a great one because there's a lot of repetition in the tune, so you can easily hear those phrases. Now, how are we doing? How are we feeling? It's been a while, so I want to make sure it's in there before we try it faster. Yeah, it's pretty good? Okay, how you doing with it, Mary? Have you ever heard this tune before? No? Pretty nice one, eh? Very common. Everybody plays the Taylor's Twist. I've played it in like 8 different countries, so it's one that'll serve you well if you're going out looking for tunes. You know what I mean? Let's go a bit quicker, shall we? And stop me if you have any questions. Please go ahead and stop and ask, and I'll deal. Okay, but this is a pretty straightforward tune. I think more than anything is just getting to know it since it's been a while. So let's give it another little go here. Share my screen, and we'll do it again, a little faster. So let's try it kind of like this. And you can hear that swing I'm putting in there, eh? Remember, you're listening to a dancer go tekata 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 tekata. So that's the feel. Just keep that in your mind's eye. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. faster. final tune. Okay, did the faster go okay? Not too much trouble? Now, that speed, not far from top speed of a hornpipe. The fastest you would play a hornpipe is this. And that's pretty quick. That would be Cayley speed. So that's Irish square dancing. When they dance a hornpipe, it's up fast like that. But if you were to play it for what it's meant for, which is a solo dancer, it would be more like this. To give the poor thing a chance to get all those triplets in. Okay? So that's not far off. And that's one of the nice things about hornpipes. Like, it doesn't take you long for them to be right up to speed. Like, so, and I was going to say, just so that, to illustrate what I was talking about, those phrases before, this is the perfect tune to point out the phrases. So, first phrase. Basically. See that? And then the next few notes are kind of a pickup to the next phrase. See that? And then the first phrase again. Now it's slightly different by 2 notes, but it's still that first phrase again. And then we got this with an ending. See that? That's the ending. Now this is one of those tunes where the ending is the same in the A part and the B part. So that's a bonus. That's a twofer. In the second part, the first phrase would be this. See that? That's the first phrase there. And then the response to it. You hear how that's a response? It's like somebody elaborated on an idea, you know? And then we go back to the A part. The first phrase from the A part, slightly different. And then the ending, which we already know. You see how that works? Everybody understand how that works? Yeah. It's all just a conversation. You know, my friend Kim, he used to say, and this man here knew more tunes than pretty well any fiddler I've ever met in my life. All right? He died in 2009. And not only did he know them, he really knew them. He would know 2 or 3 versions of the same tune. I always aspired to be like him. And he used to look at it like this. He said, it's like pulling a box of pictures out from under your bed. And you start to look through them, and some of them, you recognize everything about the picture and the situation and what happened and the people involved right away. Others, you puzzle for a while. And I thought that was the best way to describe it, really, you know? Because sometimes, like, somebody will bring up a tune I haven't played in, like, 10 years, and it'll take a few minutes for it to come. That's what I'm noticing now after the pandemic, actually, is that I'm trying to get out to all the sessions that I can to bring the repertoire all back to my fingers, because that's the main thing that suffered because of the people-based aspect of this music, eh? You can only play along with records for so long, or read the O'Neill's book for so long. You need people to remind you of the tunes, and that's really the strongest way that I remember them. Anyway, that was really great there, guys. What a great night of practice. And Mary got a few new tunes. Good luck there, Mary, with that.
Can you send me that last tune?
Oh, yes, I will right away, yes.
Yeah, that's great.
Oh, good. And we'll work on that one again next time, because I kind of have a feeling we could get that one, like, kind of tickety-boo, that one, eh? It's not that hard and not that fast. So we'll do that. We'll work on our Wise Maid. You guys have the tools to work on the Wise Maid for next time. But I'm going to check in with everybody again and see if there's another tune that we can bring up and talk about the problems involved, because I thought that was really useful. And so that's how we'll do it next week. Okay? Thanks a million, everybody. We'll see you next Monday night. Oh, and come to the session tomorrow night, Tuesday night, Noonan's Pub session. Awesome. Bye.